Welcome back to March Madness Analysis, another Monday of the weekly rankings. So let's waste no time and let's get straight into it. Gonzaga and Baylor at the top, followed by Villanova, Michigan, Texas, Houston. So we have the top six the same. Once again, I've already talked about this. Baylor is closing the gap with Gonzaga. Michigan fans have an argument to be ahead of Villanova. They have extremely similar schedules. They both have about the same quality wins, and it's actually funny, they have the same quality losses too, really. Villanova lost to currently ranked 20 Virginia Tech, and Michigan lost to currently ranked 21 Minnesota. So I'd like to see a little more from Michigan. I mean, they haven't done anything wrong right now. They're playing fantastic, but I'd like to see them win some more Big Ten games before I can throw them ahead of Villanova. Also, Villanova's on a big win streak. They lost at the beginning of the year, so they're just right behind Gonzaga and Baylor. Let's see who else. I'm a little higher on Alabama. I'm a little higher on Missouri. Alabama's last couple of games have been fantastic, playing great in the SEC. Road wins, big wins. Love where Alabama's at. The 3 losses hurt, but those were at the beginning of the year, and they are playing like a top 10 team right now. Missouri, same thing. They're on a win streak, just beat Tennessee. One of Missouri's losses was to Tennessee. So I like where Missouri's at. Both of those teams have more than enough quad 1 wins, quad 2 wins to seal their spot in the top 10. On the other side of things in the AP is a little higher on Iowa. Didn't really hurt them too much after their loss to currently unranked Indiana. Virginia is a little higher on theirs. I'd like to see Virginia do a little more. I think they're going to dominate the ACC, but they haven't done it yet, so I'm going to wait to give them some more respect. Texas Tech at 10 is really extreme to me, but you've already heard my opinion. I've talked about it before. Texas Tech has a big win over Texas. That's what's keeping them in my rankings. And a win over Oklahoma. So those are their only 2 quality wins, and they have a couple bad losses as well. West Virginia, I'm going to start to give them some respect. I didn't see it before, so it's my apologies. I bumped them up a little bit in my pool because I did notice that their losses are against really good teams, and they're really close games. So if you look at the Gonzaga game, I believe they lost to, who else did they lose to? It was like a 2-point game. So I'm going to give West Virginia some more respect. Without Oscar Tshiebwe, I'd still like them to win some more games, win some more quality games in the Big 12. So I'd like to see how the rest of their season goes. I'd like to dock Kansas a little bit more. I don't really love where I have Kansas right now. I don't really love where I have Tennessee right now either. So, after they had some pretty rough games, I think Tennessee lost 2 in a row, and Kansas has lost 3 in a row now. So I want to punish them a little more. So I don't love the spot they're at right now. So that's my apologies for that. Creighton at 17 is a little bit extreme. They really haven't done much yet. So why? I don't have them in my rankings. They haven't beaten anyone. They have some really bad losses. They beat UConn, obviously, but other than that, I think they have top 25 talent, but they're not in my rankings right now because of their poor resume. Florida State, I'm a little higher on. They played fantastic this week. The last 3 games they played, they look great. So I love where Florida State's at. Let's see who else. Illinois, we've talked about already, with 5 losses and really not many quality wins at all. St. Louis, I wanted to talk a little bit about. I know they haven't played in a month. I know that. But they were ranked even before they went on lockdown, before their little break there. Their only loss is to Minnesota, who's currently in the AP at 21. So they have quality wins as well. So still skeptical. If they lose a tough game, they're going to start back up this week. They play Richmond. That'll be a great game. So if they lose to Richmond, I don't really have a problem kicking them out for now. So at the moment, St. Louis has a pretty good resume, so that's why they're pretty high. Xavier's unranked in the AP. Don't really know why. I really like where they're at right now. I love their resume. Oklahoma State, love their resume. Um, they're not ranked. That's a little shocking to me. However, Oklahoma's not ranked, which I actually loved seeing that from the AP. That was shocking to me. I think Oklahoma's a great underrated team in the country right now. Boise State, I'd like to see them ranked. We've talked about that. We kept UCLA in even after their overtime buzzer beater loss to Stanford. So a little bit more similar than previous weeks, both of our pools. So it's nice to see just a couple little things that we've talked about throughout the year, really. A couple other teams in consideration. UConn, terrible loss to St. John's earlier this week, I believe on Monday. That was a rough one. Really not what they needed. Without Bouknight, I don't know if they're a top 25 team. Minnesota has all the quad one wins. So I really like them. I think they have the potential to play great. Just lost at home to Maryland. So that really, really hurt them. That's what dropped them out of my rankings. Creighton, we've talked about the lack of resume. Clemson played very, very poor this week. So I dropped them out. They were really high on my pool, but they played poor this week. Illinois, we've talked about. Purdue has quite the resume. They've beaten a lot of good teams. It's just the 6 losses that really hurts them. Oregon lost this week to Oregon State. That was a bad one. Granted, they're coming off of a break. So I have them at 32 currently. Michigan State, I'd like to see that. They have a couple good games coming up, so I'd like to see them win a few. I believe they have Ohio State one day this week, so that'll be a good one. And then we get into a bunch of Pac-12 teams, Colorado, USC, a lot of West Coast teams, BYU's up there, Stanford's up there. And then finishing off my top 40 is Florida, LSU, and Arizona. So Arizona's actually playing pretty well right now in the Pac-12. Just beat Arizona State in a tough one. They've got them again this week at home. So that'll be a matchup to look forward to. So that closes out my top 40. So let's get into some questions here. Travis Bowman says St. Louis seems a little high for a team who hasn't played in a month. Already talked about them. Great resume. I know they haven't played in a month. Really curious to see how they play coming off their break. Really hope they play well. Ethan Ackery says he loves that. I know that Illinois shouldn't be ranked. Well, finally I can find someone that agrees with me about Illinois. They just don't have the resume right now. 5 losses. They don't have a single win against a current top 25 team. I'd like to double check on that fact, but I am pretty positive that that's correct. Maybe they beat Minnesota. Okay, so I could be wrong on that. However, their resume really doesn't consist of much. So I know Illinois is high on net rankings, on KenPom, in the AP, obviously, but I'm not seeing much from Illinois right now. Texas Tech at 23 is insane. Well, why is that insane? 23 for Texas Tech is pretty generous. They've won one quality win against Texas at the buzzer. Other than that, they have some pretty bad losses. Their only other quality win is against Oklahoma, and I think that was at home by like 2. So there's really no reason why they should be in the top 10. That seems a little extreme to me. Chris Majors is glad that I'm showing FSU some love. Well, Florida State's deserved it. Look at their last couple games they've played. Just dominating teams right now. St. Louis hasn't played in a month. We've already talked about them. A lot of angry St. Louis haters out there. Justin Horling says Michigan is better than Villanova. I mean, they haven't played each other, so you really can't compare the teams in that way. They have similar schedules. They have similar quality wins, a similar loss. So I'm assuming Justin's a Michigan fan, but we'll have to see how they respond to the rest of their Big Ten schedule. Grant Burback says Virginia's too low. Well, the AP has Virginia at 8, I have Virginia at 10, so we're comparable there. I'd like to see them play a little more competition. They've been playing great, but offense is shaky. Even the defense hasn't really been there as much as previous years. Vols Galaxy says The Tennessee spot. He likes the Tennessee spot at 12. Well, we've already talked about that. I could probably bump them down a tad. They're playing awful right now. Granted, they are without one of their better players in Jaden Springer. Buckeyes Country says he wants Ohio State to be higher. Me and the AP are comparable with Ohio State at 13. Love their wins. Couple losses I could go without. The game against Cleveland State I could go without. Getting swept by Purdue, that could really hurt them. But I'm all on board for Ohio State finally giving in to the Buckeyes. I think they're a top 15 team at the moment. So that is it for this week. We're gonna go ahead and talk again next week in February. Another month closer to March Madness, closer to the tournament. Alex, go ahead and see you next week.